we are talking Death Stranding 2. And I'm going to come out and say that if you're watching the video version of this episode, you might look at this footage and go, this looks familiar. And you'd be right. I don't know if any different footage to what I showed the last time we spoke about this. So I'm really sorry. But here we are.
This is still Mexico.
We're
it's
still
not
in
Australia
Mexico
yet.
here. But no Australia. But that said, I have rolled credits in the game since we last spoke about it. And you have played a lot more as well. So I think when we spoke about this last time, had you even started the game? I think
I had done like an hour.
Maybe you just started it. Yes.
Yeah, I literally just started.
On Death Stranding 2.
I'm having a good time with this game. I remember last time we spoke, you mentioned that there had been some discourse, or you had just seen some rumblings that people were saying it felt very easy. And my opinion at the time was that, I think we just understand the mechanics a bit more and it's a lot more streamlined. I still think that. I do think the game is really easy though. And maybe that's just because I was expecting a bit more friction from... Yeah, I remember the first game being like tough. I
also remember
it was frustrating at times, but I remember like I have this distinct memory where I was climbing up one of the snowy mountains. So this is a good 2/3 into the game because you're probably going from what was her name? Was it Mama to the dude who dies like every 7 minutes?
Heartman.
Heartman, yeah. And I remember there's like a big snowy mountain pass between the two. And that's kind of where your zip lines start becoming really important. And obviously, when you're not in the chiral network, you don't have access to any player created objects. So like climbing through there the first time is hectic. Then you connect somewhere and you can suddenly see this like highway of zip lines and you can start adding to that. And I distinctly remember like after a good while struggling through the snow, losing cargo, having to use a lot of ladders to kind of like scale certain areas, like unlocking that zipline network is like, oh my God, what a relief, a big,
changer,
it's like a game changer. And it kind of like is a reward to the struggles that, you had to undertake before then. I do not feel anything like that in Death Stranding 2. And I don't think that is like particularly negative I think for a lot of players, it's actually a positive. Because maybe the instances I'm talking about are the very reasons why they dropped off the first one. But I just feel like I miss it. I'm almost at the point where I want to play the game offline because I feel like the game's pulling in way too much from other players and it's making things completely trivial. And I also think that the game gives you too many powerful options right off the bat. So like I've been driving the same sort of little cargo truck for hours now. Like it's not degrading. There's so many little charging stations on every single route that I never run out of power. And even when I'm off the chiral network, like it's nowhere near enough for me to like run out of juice there.
Yeah.
So I'm just loading up so much cargo onto this truck, driving it around, connecting to a station. I have to like actively get rid of stuff just because like I'm not using resources for pretty much anything because every little hub that I have has so many resources anyway.
Yeah.
And so really all I'm carrying around are like weapons because I don't need ladders. I don't need climbing ropes because everywhere I go, they are either there or I can just drive to where I need to go.
Yeah.
And it's leading to, I don't know, it just feels strange. Like I'm still having a good time. I think the combat is really good. And I like that there is more of a focus on that this time. But yeah, I mean, I just got the monorail going, the first monorail in Australia going. So for a good while, I was hopping between the that old dude with an eye patch. I think he's like the governor or whatever. Yeah. The one guy at like that big central hub where you had to fight like a lot of enemies there to like open it up, and then the musician, the guy who gives you music. So I was going between them in like a triangle, and that's where I really noticed like, oh, I can just drive between these three places like constantly and complete orders and not feel like I'm actually doing much. Yeah. And I think that's where I was like, okay, I need to progress the story because this does not feel that fun. Yeah. So yeah, I just, and then again, like I got to the area where you you have a big BT fight. You see like your primary antagonist for the game for the first time. And after that, you kind of set off to go and repair the monorail. And I was like, okay, cool. Monorail seems like a big story beat. It's going to need a lot of resources to get going. You had to like take a bunch of stuff there, and then you bring a bunch of stuff back on the monorail. But again, I just got in a car and drove. And even though I was going over all these like little planes where they're these little, they look like eels that come through the water and like zap your car, and they like take some battery power from it, could just kind of like roll through them. Not an issue. So I don't know. There's like maybe things are being smoothed over a bit too much, to the point where like I crave a bit more pushback from the game itself. Or maybe my expectation is that it matches the sort of like struggle that I found in the first game, which I just don't think it does. But it then improves pretty much everywhere else. Like combat's a lot better. I think there's a lot more options to have like stupid fun in the world, because there's just so many mechanics that you can kind of interact with this time. So I am having a good time with it, and I'm enjoying just kind of sitting down and putting an hour or two in most nights and completing a few orders here or there. I just kind of wish that the journeys, I guess, between the two were a bit more memorable. Like, you know, I remember certain instances from the first game. I'm not really remembering certain deliveries here. But I'm hoping that maybe changes. I know you've said when we've spoken about this that there are points in the game where maybe that will like start pushing back against me in a way that I'm looking for.
So I hear you. I think there's definitely that thing of you and I and other players are coming into this game knowing what to expect. Like we're getting given the same tools and things we've seen before. So like you mentioned ziplines earlier, spoiler, there are ziplines which you unlock late in the game. But I think where you are in the game now, I had the exact same thought. When I unlocked that car, I was like, that's weird. I don't remember getting the car this early in the first game. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I was like, it feels very, very early to give me a vehicle. Like I can just drive everywhere from now on if I wanted to. And it was that exact part you are now. I know exactly that little circular opening bit in Australia. But I think if you progress the story, because you've said you've been like backtracking between those three main hubs, which makes sense. Like you've unlocked the Kyle network there, you can drive wherever you want. And I know for the monorail, there's at one part you could have just driven to the monorail. I do think though, I know what the next story beat is, if my memory serves. I remember having the same thing of like, oh my God, like I just got given a car, like it makes the game trivial. And then one or two story beats later, I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to just drive everywhere all the time. Like there are going to be things, in place. And that's not to say you'll never drive again. Like there are missions where you can certainly just get in a car and drive around, whatever. But there are certain deliveries where you can't do that, or it's kind of discouraged, or it's just outright impossible. Like the terrain won't allow it, or you can try, but it'll just be easier to get out and like walk to your destination. So yeah, I'll be interested to hear your thoughts in like another 5, 10, 15 hours after you've, chipped away more at the main story. Because even where you are now, that's still, like, I don't know in terms of story, but it's still like early days-ish. I want to say you're like 25% of the way through the game, if that. I don't know.
Okay.
Still seems like you if I think of what the map looks like, you've just like the first part of Australia. And it's not to say this game's like abnormally large, but I feel like you've only just scratched the surface of what you are going to encounter. That said, that doesn't mean the game is difficult. Like I hear you in that. I think it is more streamlined and easier as a result. And I think that is this thing of they've taken learnings from the first game, they've just optimized and polished, like an already good system, and just made it more accessible for everyone. So yeah, I don't know for whether that's a good or bad thing. I don't know. It's pretty subjective. Like I can't tell you. I look back on the game now, having finished it, going like, man, I wish it was more difficult. Like I think for me, it was the right balance of, there were certain obstacles I had to face, but it was just memorable for me. Like I think if you want my quick opinion on the game, it is a thing of, I went into Death Stranding 2. I was saying before we started recording, it's weird how when this game was announced and even as it came close to launch, I was like Death Stranding 2, like I'll play it. I just clearly forgot how much I enjoyed this game, because when I started, I was like, yeah, it's Death Stranding. by the time I've rolled credits, I'm genuinely surprised to say that this is right up there as a Game of the Year contender for me with Expedition 33, which is like my other favorite game from this year. It's probably I've played other great games, but Expedition 33 is like the one. I was like, oh my God, like how's anything going to top this? Now I'm like, I don't know. Death Stranding 2, even with some things I dislike, it's just what an experience. Like we touched on it briefly the first time we spoke about it. It's you try to explain why this game is good to people, and I struggle because I'm like, well, you're just delivering packages, really. Like, and there's some combat which is cool, but there's just something about it being completely different or just unusual. Like, well, there's nothing quite like, and you're going to get to it as well. Of course, there's going to be snowy mountains you're going to have to climb up when you're just holding forward, trekking up this mountain with the wind around you and everything, and it just feels good to finally like hand over the package, like connect to this network. And I think it's Kojima being very clever. I think feeding into that dopamine hit of, I mentioned it last time, like no one's going to outright say like, I don't like getting likes on social media. Like, I think everyone likes it, whether you admit it or not. And you get that same sort of hit here where it's just you put a ladder down, you come back to it later, like, oh man, like this ladder's got 10,000 likes. Like, I'm glad people appreciated what I did here. It's just a simple, meaningless metric, but it just feeds into this whole experience, and it feels good and fun to play. So,
I mean that's the part of Death Stranding that I find the most engaging, is just the sense of collaboration without it feeling forced. By the same token, I don't know if this is a fact of when I played the first Death Stranding, I was playing it pre-release. So the amount of stuff being pulled into my world was severely limited compared to what I assume it was at launch. I don't know what the balance of that sort of stuff is.
Yeah.
So it is really cool to come across, say, a river, and I'm like, gonna need a ladder here. I like turn slightly, and there's like a ladder there, and it's like, cool, someone had this exact same problem and has solved it for me. But by the same token, I think maybe the balance is a bit off, where I'm not needing to actually solve any problems myself.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel like I'm adding to the collective struggle. I feel like I'm just using everything that's there. Like, for example, there was a mission with the musician where you had to recover some vinyls that were just behind his like little enclosure. And that's a very steep cliff.
Yeah.
Right? There were so many climbing anchors. Like, I had choices for routes to take down there. And that's cool. Like, people did this and they solved the puzzle for me. But again, it was like, the thing was solved. There was no like, oh, it pulled in two climbing hooks and I kind of needed to figure out how to connect the two, or I don't know. That's why I'm saying I'm tempted to like just take this game offline and just play it in that way, because maybe that will give me what I crave. But I also want to see what you're talking about, like how the game maybe adapts to, maybe it gives you all these tools and then it's like, cool, can you survive without a bunch of them? You know what I mean?
I think give it like another 5 to 10 hours, mainline it a bit, do sort of progress the main mission more than you would. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think you'll see what I mean. It's like, oh no, there are things that they put in your way to stop you from just like outright driving everywhere. Like, you ain't going to drive up that snowy mountain, let me tell you.
I hope so, because like I had the car going up to the musician again. I keep using him as an example, but like his little base was on the top of a hill, and I thought, oh, okay, I'm going to struggle like actually getting the car up there. I was like, no, just drove over fucking rocks, didn't give a shit. That thing just went. So I'm hoping, again, like I just want the game to push back against me a bit more.
For sure.
To give me that feel of I've overcome something rather than I've just driven somewhere, you know. The other thing that I think streamlines the combat really nicely, but sometimes to its own detriment, is the fact that you can use any gun on anyone and not worry about like killing them.
Yeah.
I think that, like, at first I was like, this is great. I have way more combat options. You know, the first game severely limited you in that sense. And I do think for human enemies, that's probably still fine. The fact that you can shoot BTs seems a bit fucked. Like, it makes them not scary.
Yeah.
And I recall being terrified of them in the first game because you had to like hold your breath around them. You didn't really have many ways to attack them. Yeah, it's just like, oh, you see one, you can just pip that thing in the head with an assault rifle from miles away. And I think maybe that again is like smoothing over edges a bit too much where it makes those moments just like lose a lot of tension. So that's the only like other thing. But other than that, man, when you are infiltrating bases, this is the most Metal Gear Solid ass feeling thing in a very long time, and it feels great. Yeah.
There was old Kojima did have a little Metal Gear Solid reference at one point. I won't say who, but somebody said, "Kept you waiting, huh?" I was like, Kojima.
I swear I heard that
one lawsuit away from Konami.
I swear it was like a hologram that someone had put up on one of their structures that like screened that out or something. I definitely heard it.
It was in a cutscene toward the end of the game. I was like, wow, that's just so on the nose.
Amazing.
But yeah,
I love that. I love that he's having fun with that sort of stuff.
Even the infiltration stuff, there's so much stuff. We're like, this feels just like Metal Gear Solid. You're like, well, he basically like invented that game. I mean, why not? I don't know.
Sam feels like an absolute tank though. Like, I've set up the alarm in a base where there's like 8 people coming at me, and it's like, cool, I can deal with this. It's fine.
I'm like, yo, just shoot me. My blood bag will fall faster than you can hurt me.
That too. I do love the crunchiness of the dropkick. It is one of the best feeling things in a game in a very long time. Like, I actually try and kill enemies with melee more than anything, just because I love sprinting, jumping, hitting melee, and just watching Sam like launch his feet at someone. Or like I like how like complicated it is to pull off, but holding luggage in your hand, so you have to like hold R2 or L2, swinging your hand with a melee attack, and then letting go of that, so he just like fucking rocket launches a bag at someone's head. Great.
Amazing.
Feels so good.
You've really got Dollman with you, right?
I do, yeah. I do.
You do know you can throw Dollman at enemies to stun them.
What? Really? That seems like something he won't enjoy.
Apparently, if you do it enough, he gets cross with you. I can't confirm this. I think it's either Darren said it or I read it somewhere. I'm like, this is great.
I thought throwing him up in the air was already quite hectic, because he's like, I don't like doing it, but I will help you. So I'm like, okay, I won't do it that often. I didn't realize you could actually just throw him at enemies. I think if you do it enough,
it's the most Kojima thing. If you do it enough, you'll be like, nah, fam. There's just some systems built in. We're like, 1% of players will see this, but it's there, which is just,
oh my God.
I don't know. It's such an interesting game. And I don't even think in all the time we've spoken about it, we've actually spoken about what the game's about. You play as Sam Bridges.
Carrying cargo.
You carry cargo. There's a whole backstory from Death Stranding 1, which I would highly recommend you watch a YouTube video just to bring you up to speed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like even in the second game, and I did touch on this last time, it feels like Kojima sort of showed some restraint. There's no lengthy cinematics, bar maybe a couple towards the end of the game. You get thrown into the action so quickly, and the cinematics are so like not few and far between, but they're so short. And I feel like I don't know, it's almost like they had, research in the last game. What did players like and dislike, and they've just looked at all that stuff and just perfected it in this game.
The cutscenes are very well acted. I'll give them
super
that.
well acted, yeah.
The character animation is like top notch. Really good, just like vocal performances, stuff like that. The story is, I mean, it's outlandish. It's ridiculous, and I think
you are not ready for this story, my friend.
Oh no, I'm certain. I think in Death Stranding, at least, I've preferred, and this was the case in the first game as well, I like the weirdness of the world building more than I do, I think, the overall narrative, like where characters start and end up. I just think I love how weird this world is, and I like that there's more of that being layered on here. Like, how does this ship travel through fucking tar currents under the world? That's kind of cool. Why is a doll alive, and why does he animate at half the frame rate of the fucking game? That's cool. Why does Fragile have these animated gloves that are like doing shit. I would like those gloves. They seem pretty useful.
I don't know.
Like she flips off someone with those gloves.
Weird,
like it's ridiculous.
But you're right. Having an extra pair of hands would be pretty handy.
I mean, when she pulls out a cigarette and lights them, like I'm like, fuck, that's pretty sick. Like that's pretty cool. Yeah.
It's
uses them to wipe away her tears. Very emotional.
You're right. It's can't argue with that. It's a weird game, but in the most wonderful way. I mean,
yeah.
Again,
like it is cool that we can get games like this.
Yeah.
Like they are. I think Death Stranding 2 is a messy game, and I like that it is messy because I think we are so accustomed to games that are perfected in so many different ways. And I think there are definitely ways that I could look at this and be like, I would have done this differently, or I'm not going to engage with this mechanic because I think it's silly, or there's too many mechanics. But I like that there is stuff that I can do in it that just makes me laugh because it's ridiculous. And there are moments that are very serious that I appreciate in the same way. So it is a fun playground to like explore and mess around in, but it's also just a very competent single player game. And I like the sort of intersection between the two.
Yeah, it is funny how it straddles this line between it's super serious until it's not. I mean,
yeah,
I cannot wait for you to just get towards the end of this game when you see some hilarious cutscenes. Like, knowing me, when I saw things happen, I just burst out laughing. It's like, what is going on? Like Kojima. But I just love the game more for it. And I know it's not for everyone. But it's weird because I think Death Stranding 2 is definitely more accessible than Death Stranding 1. So I think more people will play it. And I was thinking about it the other day. Remember when Death Stranding 1 came out? It was this huge gamble. Kojima had left Konami. It started his own studio. People are like, what the hell is this game he's making? You're delivering packages. Look, just compare that time capsule to now. We're like, yeah, Death Stranding 2's out. It scored very well. People love it. Got millions of players. Like Kojima's done it. He's gone completely independent and been like proven that he's successful. And yeah, I think it's all good and well. I think a lot of people will go like, oh, you only like the game because Kojima made it. And I go, you know what? That is a fair argument, except this is a very fun game that I think a lot of people would find joy in, even if they don't like Kojima's weirdness. So yeah.
No, 100%. Yeah, it was a big risk. I think the first game took a while to come around on a lot of people. I know I was not enjoying it at first, and then I ended up loving it. I know people who bounced off of it entirely and came back years later and ended up enjoying it. So it is definitely not a game for everyone, and I don't think the second one is either. I think it's easier to get into, but I do think the core of the game hasn't fundamentally changed. So if you're not on top with that, then you're not going to vibe with this. Yeah, there's just, I think, more stuff you can do in between those deliveries that is quite fun. So, yeah. It's a good game. It's a really good game. It's also the best looking game on consoles currently. It's just fucking phenomenal.
That Decima engine is
unreal.
Sony really needs to put this. I mean, I don't know the semantics or that's the wrong word. I don't know the logistics behind, putting a game engine in people's hands. Like obviously there's licensing fees and whatever involved, but I would hope that this engine gets used by more people. It doesn't deserve to only be used for Horizon and Death Stranding. I mean, those, hands down, those are the two best looking games on PlayStation. Like, if not this generation, they're just phenomenal looking. And I think that just...
And the engine just runs really well.
The engine just runs well.
I've had no issues.
We're playing on a base PS5. I played 30 FPS and, man, it just looks so good the whole
Rock
time.
solid, yeah. It is the first game that's made me, like, tempted to get a Pro, because playing it with that fidelity at a high frame rate would be great. But, like, even the performance mode on the base PS5 is really good and looks really good. So, yeah, it's just great all round. Yeah.